Hello and welcome to another yearly past paper session. Today's paper is IGCSE and it's from year November 23 and I'm solving the variant 2-2. Okay, let's go on and start solving. The first question says write 24.07839 correct to two decimal places. So two decimal places, so you round off this one and what you do is you end up adding one here, so 24.08. Okay, question number two says correct to the nearest 10. So the nearest 10 is this number here. So rounding off to the nearest 10 will give me 20.000 if I want to write, but just 20 is also fine. Okay, sorry. Okay, write down the number that is 9 greater than 23. So that's just minus 23 plus 9. Make sure you don't make a silly mistake. Put it on your calculator and make sure that you write the right answer. You wouldn't want to lose out this easy mark. Okay. Then v equals to u plus 80. Find the value of v when u equals to 30 and a equals to minus 2 and t equals to 7. So I think that is simple. 30 minus 2 times 7. 30 minus 2 times 7 minus 7. Yeah, that gives me 16. So I'm going to write 16 here. Okay, change 62,000 millimeters to into kilometers. So changing step by step, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. So I'm going to first divide by 10 to change this into centimeters first. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So I'm going to divide by another 100 to change it to meters. Then 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So I'm going to divide by another 1,000 to get this to kilometers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I need 6 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I get 0.062 kilometers. The next question is angle properties. The diagram shows two intersecting straight lines crossing two parallel lines. Okay, when you have parallel lines, a lot of angles are equal. The first thing that I see is there's an X forming, so there are vertically opposite angles, so this has to be 50. Okay, and whenever you have parallel lines, there are alternate angles. So I see that this should be an alternate angle. There's a Z forming, that's a skewed Z, but it's there 114 equals to X plus 50. So 114 minus 50 should give you X, which is 64. Explain why 111 is not a prime number. A prime number is a number with only two factors, with exactly two factors. Okay, one in the number itself. So the first thing that I see is that this is an odd number, which points to me that it might be a prime number. But what I can notice from here is that this number is divisible by 3. How do I know it's divisible by 3? If I add up 1 plus 1 plus 1, if I add the digits, the sum makes a number that is divisible by 3. Therefore, this entire number is also divisible by 3. So it is divisible by 3 by 3. And I can say also, if I divide it by 3, I know that it's 3 and 37. Okay. And 1 and 111 at least. Okay, there might be more factors, I don't know for sure, but that's the idea. So find a prime number between 110 and 120. So the simple idea is that you start with the odd numbers. The even numbers are never prime. Only the only even prime number is 2. So make sure that you know that. And 111 is an odd number, but that wasn't prime. So let's check 113. How can I check? I'll just start simply dividing by the numbers that I know. I'll divide by 3. It doesn't divide by 3, I'll divide by 4. It doesn't divide by 4, I'll divide by 5. I'll divide by 6. I'll divide by 7. I'll divide by 8, 9, okay, 11 itself, 13 itself. Okay, so I can confidently sort of conclude that 113 is a prime number. 115 won't be a prime number. 117 also might be a prime number. So there are lots of prime numbers that can exist within a given range. Make sure that you know sort of run through the numbers and then conclude whatever you want to. Okay, find the bearing of Q from P. From P. So this is the bearing that I'm asking you, always from the north and clockwise from the north. So I want to find out this angle. What I can simply do is I can draw a right angle here and find out this angle. That's simple. It's 90 minus 39, 180 minus 90 minus 39, or 90 minus 39. That gives me 51. So I can say that the bearing is 180 plus 51, which is 231 degrees. Okay, that was simple. Without using a calculator, work out 3 whole 1 over 8 minus 1 whole 3 over 4. You must show all your working. So let's multiply 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 5. So 25 over 8. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. 7 over 4. You take a common denominator. 8 and 4 will have a common denominator of 8. 25 will just multiply with 1 because it already has a denominator of 8. This will multiply with 2 because it has a denominator of 4. Okay, in order to convert this into an 8, you multiply by 2. So 25 minus 14 over 8. 25 minus 14 gives me 21, and 11 over 8. Converting this again to a mixed number gives me 8 times 1, 3. So 1 whole 3 over. I done something wrong. No, 1 whole 3 over 8. That's fine. I was just looking at the wrong marking scheme. Okay, 1 whole 3 over 8. Right, 90 as a product of its prime factorization, prime factors. So you go into prime factorization, you start doing prime factorization like that. First, you divide by the smallest number that you know, 2. Does it divide by 2 again? No, it doesn't. So you go on to 3. 3 times 1, 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 15 is 45. 3 times 5 is 15. It divides by 3 another time, but it doesn't go on further. 5 times 1. So either you can write it as 2 into 3 into 3 into 5, or you can write 2 into 3 squared into 5 as well. So both are acceptable. Okay, expand and simplify. So this is simple, 2t plus 2w plus 3w minus 3t. So I get 5w minus t. 11, the two shapes are mathematically similar. Find the value of h. So their sides must be in the same ratio. So 6.3 to h should be the same as 9 over 5. 9 is to 5. So I will cross multiply. I'll say that 6.3 into 5 equals to 9h. And then 6.3 into 5 divided by 9. So I get h as 3.5. The area of the smaller shape is 16. So it's not a standard shape, so I can't really find out a formula for the area. What I'm going to use is use the idea of similar shapes to find out the area. Now, whenever you have an area question, make sure that you know the ratio of areas. 9 is to 5 is the ratio of sides. How do I go to the ratio of areas? I say that I will have to square this. So 9 over 5 squared should be the ratio of areas. So area 1 over area 2. What's the smaller area? 16. So area 1 is unknown. So I'm going to say that this becomes 81 over 25. So what's 81 into 16 divided by 25? I am cross multiplying here and I am getting 51.84. So that's the exact area of the larger shape. The next question is kinematics. So kinematics, the diagram shows a speed time graph for 16 seconds of a car's journey. Find the deceleration of the car in the final 10 seconds. So I can either find the deceleration by saying that's the change in speed over the change in time. Um, so I can say that how much has the speed changed? It has changed 10. How much has the time changed? It has changed 4. Or I can simply use the gradient formula on these 2 points and say that this is 12 comma 10 and that's 16 comma 0. In that case, the answer will come out as negative. I'm going to turn that into a positive because the question is asking about a deceleration. So 10 over 4 gives me 2.5. So that's my final answer. Find the total distance traveled during the 16 seconds. The total distance traveled is always the area under the graph, basically below the between the graph and the x-axis. So this looks like a trapezium. The area of a trapezium is half into height into sum of parallel sides, which is 16 plus 12. Okay, this is 16 and that one is 12. So those are the parallel sides that I have. Okay, so I'm going to put a bracket here and say that 5 into 28 gives me 140 meters. So that's another 2 marks. Make sure that you always write down before you sort of calculate. Why? Because they're method marks. You see, these are 2 marks. There is 1 mark per method. Um, Writing just 140 might not be enough to get those entire marks. Okay. Okay. Moving on. This is indices. Let's do indices. 3 power 3p into 3 power 2p equals to 729. So this becomes 3p plus 2p. Why? Because the bases are same. Now 729 is basically the cube of 9, or I can use my calculator to sort of do a bit of trial and error to find out what 729 is in powers of 3. So let's try 3 power 5. 3 power 5 gives me 243. 3 power 6 gives me 729. So I'm going to write 3 power 6. So 5p should equal 6. P should equal 6 over 5, and that is my final answer. I can write 1.2 or 6 over 5, whichever one I think is more appropriate. This one is even simpler. Whenever you have a power outside the bracket and you have multiple terms inside which are being multiplied together, not added together, remember that. So 32 power 1 over 5 into x power 10 into 1 over 5. 32 power 1 over 5 is something that I do on my calculator. So that gives me 2. And x power 10. So when you have a power outside the bracket and there's another power inside the bracket, they get multiplied. So this gives me 2. So this becomes 2x squared. Question number 14, it says rearrange the formula to make W the subject. So what is W? The subject. So I'm going to first move around x, then y plus x divided by 2 to W square. How do you remove a root square? You put a root on both sides, but when you put a root on both sides, remember that you always generate a plus or a minus. Both possibilities exist. So you have to make sure that you write your answer in such a way that it is complete plus minus W plus X divided by 2. On the diagram, shade the region P union Q complement. So what I'm going to do is whenever I have these things, I use my symbols. I will use a plus for P. So I put a plus. I will use a symbol for right for Q prime or Q complement. I'm going to say that it's the region outside Q. So these are the regions. What do I want to shade? I want to shade the union, which means that I want to shade wherever I've put out a symbol. So wherever I've put out a symbol is this area outside and this area up till here and this entire area outside because it's going to join with the other. Okay, so that should be your answer. Everything apart from Q prime. Everything apart from that area Q. Okay. So this says that there are 20 inside and A has 12, B has 10. Okay, and A union B prime. So A union B prime, so A union B, and the value outside it is 1. So this is 1 basically. Okay, you always put something common first. So I don't know what is common, so I'm going to put out x. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this is 12 minus x and this is 10 minus x. And I'm going to add up all of them equals to 20. So x is 3. So 3, 7, and 9. Okay. You will have to calculate. This can't be done directly. Make sure that you know how to calculate. Find the lowest common multiple of 12x power 8 and 8x power 12. So I'm going to again take this here. I can put out the numbers separately and the powers separately. That makes it easier. Okay, let's first deal with the numbers. Okay, so 2 times 6, 2 times 4, 2 times 3, 2 times 2, 2 times 1, and 3, so 3 times 1. So what is the number that I'm getting? I am getting the number 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, which is 24. Let's talk about the powers then. Okay, what power can I divide with? I can divide with the power x squared. Let's write that here, write that here first. So when I divide by x power 8 by x squared, I get x power 6 and I get x power 10. Okay, another x squared, so I get x power 4 and x power 8. Okay, dividing by x squared simply means that the powers are going to get subtracted. Make sure that you understand that. Okay, I'm going to do it directly now, and I'm going to say that this is x power 4. This becomes x power 0, so that becomes 1. Okay, and 8 minus 4 gives me another 4, and x power 4 also gives me another 1. Okay, dividing powers means subtracting powers. So make sure that you understand that. What power am I getting overall here? I'm going to say that this power is x squared plus 2 plus 4 plus 4. That gives me 12. So x power 12 should have been my answer, and that is the correct way of doing it. Okay. ABCN or center angle OBA is this, angle ACB. So I'm looking for this angle. Immediately what strikes me is that there is a property involved. There's this angle at the center and an angle at the circumference. So I'm going to say that this entire angle should be found first. Okay. What do I see? I see that OA and OB are equal. They're both radii. So it should create an isosceles triangle. So I'm going to say that AOB plus 28 plus 28 should equal 180. So what's 180 minus 2 times 28? 124. So that should be half of 120. This should be half of 124, which is 62. I hope that's the correct answer. Yes, that is indeed the correct answer. Moving on to B. B says P, Q, and R are points on a circle. TU is a tangent to the circle at P. Okay, angle TPR is 47 and angle PRQ is 52. Find angle RPQ. So I am looking for this angle here. Okay. Okay, so this is the alternate segment theorem. So in this case, Q will be 47. Okay. You don't remember the alternate segment theorem, revise that. This is basically the idea that if this angle is formed in this segment, in the segment opposite it, using a tangent, you have the same angle there. So x is going to be 180 minus 47 minus 52. Okay, let's check if that's giving us the correct answer. And yes, that's giving us the correct answer, 81. Okay, a solid cylinder has a radius of 5, and a height of 8. Calculate the total surface area of the cylinder. So the total surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r h for the curved surface area, and then 2 pi r square for the bottom and the lid. So 2 times 3.142 times 5 times 8 plus 2 times 3.142 times 5 squared. Okay, let's see if we get the correct answer. 2 times 5 times 5 times 8 plus 2 times 5 times 25. 135, or in decimals, it's 408.4, rounded up to three significant figures, so 408. Find the nth term of each of the sequences. So let's try what these sequences are. This is, I see a minus 3. The common difference is minus 3, I think. So the formula for this is a plus d times n minus 1, where a is the first term, d is the common difference, in that case minus 3, n minus 1. So this is going to become 11 minus 3n plus 3. So I get 14 minus 3n as the first one. These are growing exponentially. That's a plus 4. So there's no quadratic or anything involved because it's growing very rapidly. What I see is powers of 5 basically. So this is 5 power 0, this is 5 power 1, this is 5 power 2, this is 5 power 3. So there's actually a sequence in the powers. What is the sequence in the powers? 0, 1, 2, 3. That's again an arithmetic or a linear sequence. So I'm going to say that's again a plus n minus 1 times d, or d times n minus 1, and to the power of 5. So 5, 0 plus 1 times, because common difference between the terms is 1. So I get 5 power n minus 1. Okay. The area of a rectangle is 55.2 centimeters square. Correct to one decimal place. The length of a rectangle is 9 centimeters. Correct to the nearest centimeter. Okay. Calculate the upper bound of the width. Okay. So the length has a lower bound of 8.5 and an upper bound of 9.5. And the area is correct to one decimal place. So the area has a lower bound of 55.15 and upper bound of 55.25. I want the upper bound of the width, which means that I want the width to be as large as possible. So I'm going to take the highest possible area and the lowest possible length. And that will give me the upper bound of the width. Why? Because then the width is the largest possible value that I can have. So that gives me 6.5. So W is equals to 6.5. So whenever you have questions like this, make sure that you write the upper bounds and lower bounds of all the possible elements that you have before you conclude what the final answer should be. The line y equals to x plus 1 intersects the curve this. Find the coordinates of the 2 points. Whenever you have a line and a curve and you want to find intersection points, it's just about solving simultaneously. So x plus 1 equals to x squared plus x minus 3. X squared plus x minus 1 minus 3. So x squared minus 4. So x should have two answers. So x squared equals to 4, and x should either be 2 or minus 2. So 2 or minus 2. What are the values of y? 2 plus 1 and minus 2 plus 1. So 3 and minus 1. Correct answers. Moving on to question number 22. How many questions are there on this exam? There are a lot more than the previous one. Okay, there are 26 questions. X is inversely proportional to the square root of w. So inversely proportional to the square root of w. That's how you write it. Then when you turn this into equals to, you get k over root w. Okay. So I get x equals to k over root w, and I want to find x in terms of w. So 3, I want to find out the value of k basically. So k is 3 times root 16 is 4. So 3 times 4. K is 12. So x becomes 12 over root of w. I don't know if I should rationalize this. No, I don't need to rationalize this, so that's fine. Then I have some students record their reaction times. The table shows the results on a histogram. The height of the block interval is 7.5. So the height in a histogram is basically the frequency density. So you should be focused on frequency density rather than the centimeters that you have. How do you calculate frequency density? You need the class width. So upper boundary minus lower boundary 6. Upper boundary minus lower boundary gives me 4. So the frequency density is frequency divided by class width. So I get 3. And frequency density 16 divided by 4 gives me 4. Okay. Calculator the height of the block. So 3 frequency density is represented with 7.5 centimeters. What is 4 frequency density represented with? It's a simple ratios thing. I think x should come out as 10. But my gut feeling is yes, 10. 10 centimeters. Simplify. I see 4 terms in the numerator, so it's factorizing by pairing. That's the first pair. That's the second pair that I have, x plus 2. So what's common in the first pair? A. So I'm left with x minus 2. In order to make the brackets equal, I'm going to factor out a minus 1 and say that that is also x minus 2. The denominator is a difference of squares, so a square minus 1 can become a minus 1 into a plus 1. So a minus 1 times x minus 2. A minus 1, a plus 1, so x minus 2 over a plus 1. On to the next question. It says the derivative of this is this. Okay, find the value of a and the value of k. So how do you find the derivative? First I'm going to just write y so that I can show you dy by dx. So dy by dx. 7 comes down and gets multiplied, so 14ax power 6. Okay, plus 3k x power k minus 1. So when I compare this to my powers and my terms, I see that 14a should equal 42 and 15 should equal 3k. So k in that case is 5. That's simple. A is therefore 3. So it's just my differentiation compared with the differentiation in the question. Last question, question number 26. The diagram shows a parallelogram of PQT. The position vector of P is A and the position vector of T. So OP is A and OT is B. K is on PQ such that PK to PQ, KQ is, so this is 3/4 and that's 1/4. Okay, and 3/4 of basically B and 1/4 of B. Why? Because that entire thing OT is B. The lines OK and TQ are extended to meet at X. Find the position vector of X in terms of A and B. Okay, so when I want to reach X, my target will be to go from O to T first, then from T to Q, and then from Q to X, since these are the stops that I have. OT is simply A. I'm working from O to X, just highlighting that. OT is basically B, sorry, and TQ should be A. What is QX? Now remember that QX is tricky here. What I see is I see parallel lines, so it's creating two parallel sides and then a lot of angles that are common. So it's creating two um, similar triangles, which are in the ratio 3:1. If this side is in the ratio 3:1, then this side must also be in the ratio 3:1. Okay, so this is also in the ratio 3:1. Okay, so if OP and QX are in the ratio 3:1, then if OP is A, then qx should be a over 3. Okay, then b, 1 plus 1 over 3 gives me 4 over 3. A, I've taken a common denominator and added them together. So I get that. I think that should be the correct answer. And I think that brings us to the end of this exam. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another exam shortly.